the music world, of course, in collective mourning today as a true icon, a rock and roll great, and Black Sabbath frontman Ozzy Osbourne has passed away at the age of 76. Dickie, you know, when we talk about a pioneer, here's a guy who was just from Birmingham, a poor kid, falls into a band, doesn't realise he's inventing heavy metal at the time, but that's exactly what they did.
Well, 1970, you know, we're just the Beatles and the Stones and all that sort of stuff, just beautifully constructed songs, and then along comes this thrashing heavy metal, which was, you know, turn it up to 11, and just great players and lots of energy and sort of anti-establishment and just full on, and the fans just loved it, didn't they? They just went nuts.
Well, and, you know, as we were just talking about earlier with Youngblood, you know, committed to playing his music every night for the rest of his life. It goes to show the influence he's had on the genre. I'd love to ask, though, about Sharon and the relationship between the two of them. Those of us who grew up, or didn't grow up, but we watched the Osbourne reality show when we were young, and we got this real insight into their world. What was the dynamic between them?
Well, Sharon's a genius. Sharon is super smart. Her dad, Don Arden, is a big rock and roll music manager, was in the UK. Very important, very influential, very powerful. And she grew up with all that knowledge and wisdom, and she took over Ozzy's management. He got booted out of the group for, you know, alcohol and drugs and being unreliable in about 79. She said, well, people don't want to see that. People want to see Ozzy Osbourne. So she created the kind of Ozzy thing, which culminated in the reality show, I guess. But before that, you know, she created lots of incidents along the way. The infamous record company meeting with her, she wanted 2 live doves there to be released as a peace offering. The meeting went bad, and Ozzy bit the head off the 2 doves in the record company. That's where the start of that thing came.
Exactly, and then of course, in a concert later on, a fan throws a bat on stage. He thinks it's a rubber bat and does it again. Listen, let's bring in rock journalist Murray Engelhardt here, because he's also interviewed Ozzy countless amount of times. Murray, thank you for your patience. Great to have you on the show.
Thanks very much.
In your opinion, you know, Ozzy, you know, pre-Sabbath and post-Sabbath, particularly the Randy Rhoads period, how influential is he on the music and the genre's development?
I think he gave the sound. He had the voice, so he gave the sound its roar, if you want. And he gave the band a focal point. He gave kids someone to react for and with. He drew all that power of that band and channeled it at audiences.
After being kicked out of Sabbath, he did go on a bit of a wild ride for a while, didn't he? I mean, to say the least. There was the infamous bat-biting episode that we were just talking about. He eventually found his footing as a solo artist, didn't he, though? How did he manage to do that?
Just drive and determination, I think. When the Sabbath thing didn't work out, I think he decided, well, bugger this, I'm going to pursue my own path, and he really did. They sold an enormous amount of records and were hugely popular just in his own right, which he must have been pretty proud of, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you interviewed Ozzy. We just saw a bit of Dickie's a little bit earlier before, but what was he like one-on-one? And do you have a memorable moment, I suppose, from... I mean, they probably all are interviewing Ozzy, but what's one that stands out for you?
He was a mixture of childlike innocence and worldly wisdom and wise. He was basically a big hippie. He was a lovely bloke, just down to earth, anything but the Prince of Darkness. And 2 occasions, here I was dealing with, inverted commas, the Prince of Darkness, and he launched into a big spiel about how much he loved the Beatles and Lady Di. And I was a bit taken aback. And then on another occasion, I asked about his tattoos. So he spent about 5 minutes rolling up his trouser legs to show me his tattoos on his knees, and he was very proud of that. But quite the character, lovely guy.
Yeah. Hey, Murray, Richard Wilkins here, sir. Nice to talk to you. Ozzy, of course, you know, was rescued, if you like, by Sharon. I think we were talking about that before. I mean, she set up the Ozfest. You know, the festivals. They made a fortune out of that, and she really created and generated the wealth that they came to enjoy. And the reality television show was trailblazing. You know, we wouldn't have the Kardashians if it wasn't for the Osbourne. They've got a lot to answer for. But, you know, Sharon was a huge guiding light in his life, wasn't she?
Oh, very much so. Very much so. Partners in life, partners in crime, if you will, certainly. I've always had mixed feelings about the reality show. he's a hero to so many people, myself included, and it sort of ended up him being the butt of everybody's jokes, which I thought was a bit unnecessary. But it did project him into a wider audience, and basically at this point, Black Sabbath are like AC/DC. They're a brand. They're not a band. They're a brand. So and that reaches deep into the culture. And I think he'd be really proud of that. I mean, he got his spectacular moment in Birmingham a few weeks ago, which is just perfect on the throne. I thought that was wonderful. But yeah, the reality show I had mixed feelings about.
But, you know, I think you're right, though. It's a brand that sort of it will live forever now, and because of really Ozzy surviving it all, and it was a heck of a life that he had to go through. He put himself through so much, but at the end of the day, he did produce some iconic music with that band and solo, and then became a pop culture icon. Murray, it's great to have your insight today on this kind of sad day for rock and roll, but a great triumph for music out there, having Ozzy a part of it. Dickie, good to see you too. We'll see you later on.
Yeah.
Thanks
very much.
But of course, the world is reacting to the loss of heavy metal legend Ozzy Osbourne, who was only rocking 3 weeks ago.
Just extraordinary, isn't it? For more, we're joined now by entertainment editor Richard Wilkins. Dickie, such a devastating loss for the whole industry, but of course for the Osbourne family.
Of course, it's very sad for the family, but what an incredible life he had. He packed so much in, as you've just seen those funny bits on the show. But yeah, it's never good when the phone rings in the wee small hours, and of course we woke to the news that Ozzy Osbourne had passed away way too young, really, at the age of just 76, but it could have been a whole lot earlier were it not for his good wife, who managed his career and kind of got him back on track. But this, as you say, only weeks after playing in his hometown Birmingham, which was declared to be the final ever outing. He was famous not only for his outrageous antics on stage, but of course the Osbournes telly show, and tributes are flowing in thick and fast from many of Ozzy's contemporaries. Sir Elton posting an old photo of Ozzy, saying a dear friend and a huge trailblazer, also saying he was one of the funniest blokes he'd ever met. Sir Rod saying, bye-bye Ozzy, I'll see you up there later rather than sooner. And plenty of those who were inspired by him, including punk singer Youngblood, sharing a photo of him and Ozzy at that final show. Youngblood was on the bill, expressing that he will continue to honour the legend, planning to play his song Changes every night for the rest of my life.
Wow.
I had the pleasure of talking to Ozzy a couple of times. The last time was about a decade ago, I think, in his home. They had a beautiful house just behind the Beverly Hills Hotel. Made a lot of money over the years, Ozzy and Sharon. And this is how the interview finished up. If you could do it all again, is there much you do differently?
I wouldn't change a damn thing, because you couldn't write the Ozzy Osbourne story. You couldn't invent it.
That is
He's right.
true. He was just a colourful guy and a very funny guy too, and he'll be missed by those close to him, and we send our condolences, of course, to Sharon and Kelly, who's got a lot of friends.
Well. Tributes are building on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for Ozzy Osbourne, who has died at the age of 76.
Let's go live now to 9 US correspondent Jonathan Kersley in Hollywood. Hey, Jono, a special wreath has just been laid.
Yeah, it has. Just behind us, you can see the wreath has been laid here at the Star of Ozzy Osbourne, where fans have been coming across the course of this afternoon, lighting candles, laying flowers for the man regarded as the Prince of Darkness, of a music icon. Of course, Black Sabbath, the band he was a part of, was huge in the genre of music, making his name, obviously, in the United Kingdom. But it was here in Los Angeles that really became his second home. He and his wife Sharon, their children living here, the Osbournes, the reality TV show bringing Ozzy Osbourne back onto centre stage, I suppose, if you like. And it was only a matter of a couple of weeks ago he was reunited with Black Sabbath. That performance, that stunning concert that fans here say was really part of what they're calling the great goodbye. We spoke to some fans paying tribute earlier. Here's what they had to say.
Definitely it was the goodbye, because when he played Mama Coming Home, I can have like goosebumps right now, just imagining again, because it's clearly he was saying something that it's sad, it's very sad.
As a female heavy metal chick, it was like, you know, we could listen to his music and just feel liberated and happy, and we can rock.
So Ozzy sadly gone at the age of 76. Fans say his music, his legacy will live on. In fact, just behind us, moments ago, they've just done a shot for Ozzy, knocking back a drink in the middle of the afternoon in tribute to the performer, the singer. Well, what a way to pay tribute to him. A shot in the middle of the afternoon here in Hollywood.
I'm sure he would have loved
Watch
it.
out, Bats.
Jono, thank you.
Well, we begin and welcome everyone to breaking news out of the music world of a different kind. Heavy metal legend and reality TV pioneer Ozzy Osbourne has died at the age of 76.
His family confirming the news in just the past hour and were by the singer's side in his final moments. Let's go live to 9 Europe correspondent Hannah Sinclair. Hannah, tributes are already pouring in for the Black Sabbath frontman.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, they certainly are. Tributes are flowing for Ozzy Osbourne after his family broke the news to the world that he has died aged 76 years old. The family saying in a statement, it is with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love. His bandmates posting on the Black Sabbath Instagram page, Ozzy Forever. Sir Elton John describing him as a dear friend, a huge trailblazer, a true legend, and one of the funniest people he's ever met. From the Rolling Stones, Ronnie Wood says, "I'm so very sad to hear what a lovely goodbye concert he had." The heavy metal star performed his final gig on stage less than 3 weeks ago, determined to give his fans the perfect farewell, telling them, "Thank you from the bottom of my heart." He had Parkinson's disease and had suffered other health problems in recent years, including complications from a fall in 2019. Born John Michael Osbourne in Birmingham in 1948, Ozzy Osbourne pioneered heavy metal as the frontman of Black Sabbath before going on to have huge success in his own right, known for hits including Iron Man, Paranoid and Crazy Train. The singer also found a different kind of fame thanks to Naughty's MTV reality show The Osbournes, which followed his somewhat chaotic life with his wife Sharon and two of their children, Kelly and Jack. He was also known for his hell-raising during his rock star heyday, including, of course, that moment he bit the head off a live bat on stage during his career. Osbourne was inducted into the UK Music Hall of Fame and the US Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Ozzy Osbourne leaves behind his wife Sharon, 6 children and several grandchildren. Guys.